Hi, I'm Tamitha Scove with your solar storm forecast for the week of July 22nd. The sun has been incredibly quiet this week. We've had very little in the way of flare activity. In fact, the solar flux levels have been very low. But we've had gorgeous prominence eruptions like the one right off the northeast limb that you saw here back on the 16th. And then back on the 19th, we had two of them. One came from the northwest limb. You can see it just beginning to erupt right there. Bam! That left off and it missed us to the west, but then that started another one. Bam! You see it right there. That erupted just to the southwest of us, but it looks like there might actually be an earthward directed component. Switching to our M-flare threat meter, you can see we've really flatlined when it comes to flares. We've stayed well below the seafloor, except for that B-class flare that happened on the 19th when those filaments erupted. But since then, we've flatlined again, and we will remain like that for at least another couple days until some new regions rotate around the east limb. Switching to your solar storm levels, you can see we've actually had quite a bit of activity, especially on the 13th when a glancing blow from a solar storm we expected to kind of miss us actually hit us a lot harder than we thought. But since then, things really died down. In fact, I was getting complaints over a few days that there wasn't even enough activity for ham radio operation. And from that glancing blow that hit us on the 13th, we were able to see aurora in New Zealand, and also clear down in Kiel, Germany. We caught it in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Here's some gorgeous aurora with lightning in Alberta, Canada. We also saw it in Ontario and interior South Dakota. We saw it over the mountains in Montana and clear down as far south as Nebraska and Paradox Valley, Colorado. Now remember that prominence eruption I talked about that might have an earthward component? Well, this is Emmel. This is NOAA's version of the model. The top panel's density, the bottom panel's velocity, and you can see that solar storm coming out, and it indeed is going west of us and south of us. But it looks like it might actually have a slight earthward component that will hit us. If it hits us at all, it'll hit us late into the 22nd, into the 23rd. So we might actually see some storming because of this. So what else does the sun have in store for us this week? Well, I can happily report that we have stereo back online. Here's Earth, here's the sun, and here's stereo A showing us images of the backside again. Yes! And what I can happily report is that we have a new region that's going to be rotating into view here in the next few days. It looks like it's got some activity, and region 2383, kind of around that area, has also been showing activity. So we might see some solar activity pick up here in the next week or so. Returning to the disk, you can see regions 2388 and 2384 have now rotated off of the west limb, and we're left with regions 2386 and 2387, which have practically slept their way across the solar disk and will probably continue to sleep as they move off the west limb. We're going to wait for the next couple days before we see new regions rotate online, and hopefully activity will begin to pick up then. Switching to your solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are anticipating that glancing blow on the 23rd, so NOAA has given us a 45% chance of a major storm at high latitudes just for about a day, with things beginning to calm down. At mid latitudes, we're only expecting about a 10% chance of a minor storm, with things calming down pretty quickly, because if we do see anything, it's probably going to be short-lived. But outside of that, things should calm down for the rest of the week. Switching to your solar flare and particle radiation storm outlook over the coming week, as I mentioned before, we do have a couple active regions that are in the Earth view right now, but they are sleeping their way across the disk. So NOAA's giving us only about a 5% chance for an M-class flare over the coming week. In fact, solar flux levels are so low right now that you amateur radio operators should hope that that glancing solar storm blow actually stirs things up a little bit. Otherwise, you may have problems on the ham bands for the rest of the week. So this week looks to be, well, kind of sleepy. We are expecting that glancing blow from a solar storm on and around the 23rd. The NASA model says no, the NOAA model says yes, so it's kind of one of those things where we're just hoping we catch the edge of it. If we do, we should have some decent aurora at high latitudes and maybe just a little bit of aurora at mid latitudes for a short period of time before things calm back down again. Meanwhile, we don't really expect any M-class flares or any high-level flares at all, so you amateur radio operators may get a little frustrated because it's just too quiet for propagation right now. And I'm sorry about that, but we should get something happening in the next few days as the new regions begin to rotate into Earth view. Thank you, Stereo, for letting us see those regions and the activity on the backside. So let's just hope that if we can hang out for a few more days, the sun will give us more opportunity. I'm Tamitha Scove. Thank you for watching.